Hello and welcome again to Snooker Extra on day 2 of the Betfred World Snooker Championship. Now we'll be focusing on the match between last year's semi-finalist Anthony McGill and the English qualifier Ricky Walden. The Tartar Nugget McGill took the first frame with breaks of 38 and 33, and we join it at the start of frame 2 with the two Johns, Parrot and Virgo, describing the action.
Thanks. The second frame, Ricky Walden to break.
So Ricky Walden breaks off in frame 2 after a, well, quite a tactical opener. Had his chance, Ricky, but didn't take it, and Anthony McGill does what Anthony McGill does. Plays good frames of snooker and mops up if you don't take your chances. Yeah, very accomplished match player, as he showed last year.
Never a good thing to catch a baulk colour full in the face, which is what Anthony did there. So a chance for Ricky to test his long potting. Just a fraction out, and of course he got so close to pot, and he's left his opponent with a nice easy starter.
One.
Just had a little look to see that if he played off the blue there, was there a cannon to the side of the reds, but you could easily lose the cue ball, so change your plan. Quite get into that one.
3. Four.
Yeah, the problem with that, he just wasn't straight enough on that red. He managed to be able to pot it without hitting the second red, but he couldn't avoid it being near the side cushion, so a little bit of a test of this, just to drop it in dead weight for the red just above the black in the opposite corner.
Yeah, it's been a struggle, this. It seems ridiculous when he's only potted a couple of balls, but this has been hard work right from the start. Underhit the yellow, left himself near the side cushion. So he's scrapping for the cue ball here. No guarantee where this is going to end up.
One. 12.
He's having a look at all kinds of things here. I think a little trickle up behind the brown is probably the shot. Well, he's having a look at the pot.
I think he's been very lucky, John. I think he's landed a plumb on the angle that can bring him down the table. I thought that when he just had that flick off the red and when it come off the cushion, I thought you've had a right result there, because this has been the start of this break. He's been out of position virtually
60.
every shot, but now he's got the cue ball back.
$17.
Amazing break this. The start of this was far from normal and wasn't brilliantly played, to say the least. And even that one, he's come at a tricky angle. So this has been really hard work.
Well, settle for that. Here's the other one where he just flicked the red unintentionally and finished, as John said, absolutely plumb on the brown. Played a nice
25.
positional shot there, though. And, of course, in potting that red has made another red available. So this is a good opportunity now to make a sizable contribution at this visit.
$32. $33.
Yeah, that wasn't the cleanest. I can just see him. He's just absolutely scrapping for the cue ball. That should have been slightly lower down, so he could play a little cannon up into the reds, but not to be. So that's the red. He wanted the cannon from a half ball. We've played it lovely to screw in and get that red.
40.
See, when he plays this, he wants to be lower just to play a little stun cannon up. But that last shot, John, was very good, wasn't it?
It was. It could have quite easily gone wrong. But he didn't want to be playing for the red near the top cushion, which would have been the obvious red to play for. So I took a little bit of a chance, but it couldn't have worked out better. Surely he wins the frame now at this visit.
This has been one of the best, most awkward breaks I think I've seen in a long time. It's absolutely
48.
done remarkable just to keep this going. He's been slightly off with nearly every shot he's played, and yet he's still going.
$49. $55. $56.
So 60 points to lead. A red and a black would have
60.
done it, but he's just overrun that. It's not a natural now to roll the red in and be on the black. Well, he's getting down pretty quick, so maybe he can avoid the kiss on the second red. No, he couldn't.
61.
So 61 points to lead, but there's still 67 remaining. Can't get through that gap of reds for the pink, so he's not going to be winning at this visit now.
The game eventually got him, John. He was out of position quite a few times and kept it going, and brilliant break, has to be said. And he's a little look. He'd love to be able to push this black safe and the lead that he's got.
Anthony McGill, 61.
Now, that really was an excellent contribution. All credit for keeping that one going.
Anthony McGill to break.
Anthony McGill getting frame 3 underway. He'd be quite happy with his morning's work. And when I say quite happy, you're happy if you haven't made unforced errors. You know, nothing to linger in your mind and reproach yourself for, whereas the opposite could be said for Ricky. He's had 2 good chances and, well, made the unforced errors, and they just wear away at you. I know it's early on in the match, but he needs the frame on the board and soon.
He's up against one of those types of opponents who just simply doesn't go away, just keeps playing at a very high standard all the time through the match. So Ricky's got to ensure that when those opportunities do come, he doesn't make those unforced mistakes. Because this is what Anthony McGill's going to do. He's going to keep playing really good match play. That's an excellent shot he's played. Blocked off one side of the table. That was a really, really good shot he's played there. Now Ricky's under the cosh. This is tough from here. Hard to get back to balk area.
Yeah, I'm right behind the line of this red that you've got to the left corner. It's one of those, if you was to pot it, I think you could get back up for the blue, but if you just hit it a bit wide, you're going to run into other reds. So in the end, decided to play it slowly. And of course the worst thing happens, you get the double kiss. And I think he's left the red on. Yeah, well.
Yeah, it would be the best way to play it if you could play it that way and flick a bit of side on just to nick it in, because it is very thin. I don't think I'd fancy the scaffolding with that one, John.
No, I know. You'd be so far away from the cue ball, so he. As I say, I think it's possible, but as you say, he's not comfortable. And Anthony has a game plan. It's not a plan that changes much. I think this is the way he plays it, keeps it tight, force your opponent into mistakes, and when you get the opportunities, make the most of them. Sounds simple. Well, that's a. Oh, I was going to say that's a bit of luck, but it didn't go in. And he didn't get the cover with the brown. A big problem for Anthony. Well, he could possibly get on the pink, but the black not being available. Guarantee position.
I was about to say, John, I must make myself stupid here for not for the first time either, but this is actually tricky to get on one. I suppose you could play the red on the right hand side and screw it onto that red that's over the corner, screw back for blue, but anyway, can he get out onto a colour? Yes, he can, is the answer. What a screw back that was. Well, I didn't know that was in the armoury. There's another thing I've just learnt.
Yep, I think there's not many shots that Anthony can't play on a snooker table. I think, though, the reaction the cue ball got even, and Anthony was taken a little bit by surprise. He did get some action on that one. Perfect on the brown.
So, 2-0 up. The opponent sitting in the chair. Nice opportunity. And this is what was synonymous with his game last year. When those opportunities came, he scored very heavily, which is why he ended up in the semi-final. This is a lovely chance. Okay, the black isn't available at the moment. The two reds that are near the top cushion are blocking the pocket for both sides. So absolutely straightforward, but it's a good chance.
Pink spot not available, so I don't think the pink will go into the left corner. I think the red stops it, so you'll have to go back up for blue or portcolour. And just trying to put in that extra bit of pace that's cost him, so that is a mistake. First unforced error really from Anthony. Now Ricky, unexpected chance, hit right across that. I think he was overstretching slightly as well. So Ricky, you can put those mistakes that have cost you the first two frames behind you and punish your opponent for that miss. And the fact he's getting the rest out, he's going to play the red that's just to the left of the pink, and of course that will clear the path for the pink into that same pocket. It's a decent chance, this.
One.
It's not if you screwed a cue ball instead of coming back with a little bit of side. I don't know. Got into that a little bit too much. Probably still potable, John, but you'd like this to have been a lot more straightforward. As I mentioned earlier, it was a chance that you really needed the cue ball higher up the table here. Just about, but there's the cue ball gone west.
Yeah, and it was one of them, to be honest with you. I could see what he was thinking. If I cut the pink in, I'm bound to catch one of those three reds there, and he missed them. I missed the blue. Nearly missed the pink.
Looks like he's trying to play the thin snick. Yeah. He'll be absolutely mortified he scored 7 there.
Ricky Walden,
that was a far better chance. These are really difficult, but the first red not to get on the pink properly was a bit of a stinker. But from somewhere, John, Anthony McGill started missing.
One.
And got to start scoring now, Ricky. Definitely one of the more fluent and heavy scorers, can change matches very quickly, but he's got to eradicate that odd miss that's been going on this morning. And it's a big deal, John, isn't it? You know, you haven't been to the Crucible for a while, and out of the swing of things, it takes its time, you know, just to get back used to the venue.
World rank number 35 at the moment, so he's had to come through the qualifiers, but 2015 he came into this tournament world rank number 6. So it's certainly a fall from grace. And as you say, having not
16.
been in these type of matches regularly for the last few years, it's sometimes feel as though you've got to really play well to get a result. Whereas if you're in there all the time, you know you can afford a few mistakes. You don't have to play. Absolutely don't miss snooker.
17.
Well, whether he thought that rolled off a bit, it only just scraped in off the jaw. But he's played a couple of those, and you half get the feeling he's underhit them.
7.
Did catch the right-hand jaw, but slow enough for gravity to take over. And in the first frame when he was in, and we agreed he was just being a bit careful. I always look at Ricky as a free-flowing player. He just looks a little bit edgy at the moment. Understandable, as we say, but he needs to clear his mind and get that fluency, which is part and parcel of his game. Playing a little cannon. It's okay.
Even that type of shot, if you're not,
29.
you know, you're a little bit anxious about it, you start to see how's this going to go wrong as opposed to how this is going to go right. But thankfully, got down, played the correct shot, turned out nicely. And really, no excuse from here. He doesn't wrap this frame up. This is a gilt-edged chance, certainly for these boys at this level.
$36. $37.
Well, he'd be very disappointed if he doesn't win the frame now. And this will hurt Anthony.
44.
He's had a couple of mid-range reds that he's had to play with a bit of pace and missed them.
45.
Yeah, the one in the corner, the first one that he was a surprise to John, he just hit right across that, didn't he? Which is not great for your cue action to see the cue ball veering off. And then mid-range red after that, you'd still fancy him to knock in, so a little bit worrying.
And of course, the mistakes that cost you a frame always stay with you.
52.
If you make a mistake and it doesn't cost you a frame, you can eradicate them from your mind, but you'll be thinking about those two mid-range pots.
53.
Would have liked to have been a little straighter on this black, but he shouldn't cause a problem. He's got a lovely touch, as Ricky. Little cannon on the pink here. Yeah, he's got a lovely touch in and around the balls. And he struck the ball, 60. As this break's gone on, he's struck it better. He's getting through 61. The ball nicely. And this black will put the frame beyond Anthony McGill's reach.
And John will feel better, of course, getting that first 68. Frame on the board, the Crucible, when you've been away for a while. Always nice to get that first one up on that scoreboard, so that'll settle him down.
$69.
And that red going in means there's no return to the table now for Anthony. The only thing you would say, I mean, you've relied on your opponent making mistakes, but that shouldn't bother him. As you say, you get that your first frame on the scoreboard, relax you, and there's definite signs that you're starting to cue with a bit more freedom
76.
now.
$76.
Played that nicely, so if you can just
81.
knock this red in without going in off, chance of a century.
82.
Oh, very good chance now for Ricky to really settle down with
85.
a 100 break. Lovely feeling. Anytime you
87.
make a century at the Crucible. Taken these lovely, John, hasn't he?
Yeah, there's been 10 so far. I know a lot of people bet on how many centuries there's going to be. I mean, I thought last year, the way it started off, that we're going to see
94.
the record number of centuries at the Crucible. we didn't manage to get that far, but we only had one day, and this halfway through this morning,
99.
and this is going to be the 11th coming up. Well
105.
played. As I say, you like to have a mistake from his opponent, but that's all you can do, make the most of it, and he'll be feeling an awful lot better.
Ricky Walden.
So, former world number 6, who had to qualify, has got a platform in the match. Still trails 2-1.
It's Ricky Walden who breaks off in frame 4. Been an excellent session this so far. Good stuff, good break building. A few mistakes which have made it exciting. And Ricky Walden finally got his first frame at this year's Crucible on the board with that excellent century in the last. It's been a good session this. Couple of unexpected misses in the last frame from Anthony, who hadn't missed anything basically in the opening couple of frames, so he'll be wanting to re-establish the fact that he's still queuing well.
Chance here for Ricky. Can he carry on where he left off? And well, he's refusing the red. Surprises me, this. I mean, it's not as if it's an easy safety shot, hampered by the yellow. As it turned out, he made a good fist of it, but I'm really surprised he didn't attempt the red to the right corner. I mean, okay, a little bit of risk involved, but once you just come off after making a century in the last frame, but as we always say, it's how you're feeling inside, and if you don't fancy a shot, no one forces you to play it.
He nearly got his man there in trouble. Anthony McGill is trying to block off one side, but where it's finished, he can just snick this red. Now, if Ricky can do the same thing, he could pay dividends, but he hasn't hit the cue ball very well there. No, he's blocked off the left-hand escape, but just to see how Anthony McGill gets on with this. As I mentioned in the last frame, there was a couple of bits of cueing that weren't the best. Hit across the ball, so this will be a little tester for him. Yep, once again, cueing fails the test. So, not easy, we know, but when you play that shot, John, you've got to knock it in, haven't you?
Yeah, and once again, a slight deacceleration, I think, normally when you hit those too thin.
1.
So, but that's always a test of any cue action, the mid-range, long-distance shots. It's all right when you're in amongst the balls, you know, the cue ball's not travelling too far.
Good shot there from Ricky. Didn't look like much, but he underhit the opening red there. Left himself slightly awkward, but
8.
well negotiated. And this is exactly how he
9.
wants the game to be played. So we mentioned in the last frame, John, he got his chance from Anthony's mistake. Here's another one. So time to really concentrate here. And if you can get out of this session, 2-2 at the interval, he'd be delighted from 2-0 down.
16. 17. 24. 25.
25.
32.
4 reds, 4 blacks.
33.
You've gone early there, JV.
Well, just getting people's attention.
Now, far more important for Ricky to be winning this frame. This is the match.
41.
Nice to make a maximum. That's all well and good, but you know, a very important match here. Make sure you win the frame and win it with a high break. You never know. The break might actually be good enough. Okay, just because it's day 2, you just never ever know. It might be good enough to win if you can make a big break. But the main priority, get the frame won.
47.
Slightly tricky. Those 4 reds on the right hand side of where they are, they all pot in the opposite middle pocket. Ideally you could get round behind them that way. Can't quite see what he's got from where he is. He's a little shake of the head. I don't know whether he can just roll that in and run past those reds for the middle.
Yeah, I thought it was a little bit careless the way he played it. May have to play a little cannon here, and I don't see any reason why not to. Just, there's 2 reds in a line, just nudge into them. Well, he could get on one without playing a cannon. And if he pots
52.
this, he will clear it somewhat. He's missed a few shots today, or this morning.
53.
That one was nicely put away. And now this time, absolutely inch perfect on the blue. No problem with that one. I've decided to play for this one now. When the blue's spotted, let's
58.
just got to be careful here. Not that the blue's in the way, but you just don't want to be thinking about something that you might touch with the rest or your cue. But if he gets rid of this one, gets nice position on the pink, all set fair for a frame-winning contribution.
59.
Interesting the way he's played that. Seemed happy just to leave the cue ball a little low on the pink.
Yeah, should have screwed back really, shouldn't he? You've got to screw back and leave yourself a chance so you could stun it in and play for one of the reds below the pink.
Yeah,
but he seems happy enough playing with the rest.
Yeah, he's gone about it a slightly different way. No problem if you keep knocking them in.
65.
Everybody makes a break in a different fashion. He just decided that to leave it low and stun over for this one, but wouldn't have been me. I'd have been screwing back, as John said, and playing the pink. Screwing back behind those 3 reds just to make it a little bit easier, but gone about it slightly differently. There's no problem as long as you keep knocking them in.
So, quite simply, just needs the black, and it'll be snookers required. Yeah, everybody has different ways of going about it. The end result is put all the balls, you're bound to win. But he's taking these really well. There you see it, 73 in front, 67 remaining, but not for long. Made a century 74 in the last frame. See no reason why he can't make one in this.
Yeah, as I say, gone about it slightly differently, but there they are now. And those 3 reds will be lined up like soldiers
80.
in a second for him. So you mentioned earlier he's a very fluent
81.
and quick scorer. And evidence in the last frame, 112. And these so far. And he'll go to the mid-session interval, John, feeling quite happy with
88.
himself Whereas Anthony, well, a little bit worried, I would have thought, with a couple
89.
of the shots that he's played.
Well, and particularly when he was 2-0 in front, you think you can push on from there and start thinking about building up a useful lead from this first session. Just his long potting, I wouldn't be surprised if he went to the practice table and practiced a few of those, just hitting across them slightly.
97.
But this is wonderful stuff from Ricky.
Yeah, I mentioned earlier, it's not a match
105.
that I'd recalled too many times, these two playing each other, and that's because it's only happened once, but it's a shame it hasn't happened more, because this has been very good. Oh, missed the blue
Ricky Walden,
unexpectedly, but
105
won't be
and the
too
free.
worried about that. And back-to-back centuries from Ricky Walden. So from 2-0 down, 2-2 at the mid-session interval. Good match, this.
Well, that was careless. Got the double kiss there. No excuse for that. Trying to send the red obviously up and down the table. Hit it all wrong. Hit it too full. So a nice easy starter for Anthony. And a puzzled Ricky Walden.
One.
Just didn't feel a lot of conviction in that shot.
Three.
No, asking for a lot to land on one. Played at that pace, John, wasn't it? Certainly into a bunch that was as clustered as that.
Well, doing it without his hand on the table. It's a case of don't try that at home, and he's made a bit of a mess of this.
Anthony McGill, 3.
Just gone a little bit ragged as Anthony, which is a surprise because he's usually a very good all-round player.
Yeah, not a word I'd associate with him, ragged. I have to be honest with you, he's usually a very reliable and very consistent match player, but yeah, worrying signs for him is potting's gone awry and then he's making mistakes tactically. Now, can he screw through the gap for the black? Yes is the answer, and that's beautifully played. Lovely, lovely shot that was. That was as nice as he struck a shot in this opening session. Gorgeous little shot, I love those. Just enough to grab the cue ball and stagger it through the gap. Played that really nicely.
Once again, a little bit more
8.
pace, you would have thought. I think he's got a couple of tricky reds that he can pot, but not certain where the colour comes from. Just needed a bit more action on that cue ball. think there is a red, possibly to the left middle, but don't see the value. And the fact he's gone up to the balk end and he's looking where there's the red, but he couldn't play for, well, the pink's not available, couldn't get on the black, so it's just a safety.
Ricky Walden, 8.
And he'll be very disappointed to have caught the balk colour there.
You know, John, just watching him this morning as well, and you know, we've known him for a long time and everything, and what a good player he is, but it's almost when he's not under any pressure at all, and when there's a simple shot, he doesn't give it 100%. It's not the tough stuff. I think he's really good at that. I just think when he thinks there's no real pressure on it or nothing, it's not quite as good as some of the top match players. You know, if you're playing John Higgins there, that cue ball's stuck on the bottom cushion. You're playing Mark Selby there, it's on the bottom cushion. It's just little things like that, but they all add up. But it's when he's not in trouble.
Yeah. No, you've got to give 100% to every shot. But once again, he's not taking advantage of that, Anthony. Hand on the table, should have played a better safety shot than that. And Ricky gets another opportunity. Yeah, any player worth his salt is very upset when they miss a shot like that, because that's the type of shot you go at the practice table and pot. Well, probably he's potting about 50 of them this morning
1.
on the practice table. So can Anthony get back in stroke here? Got a nice few reds just to play himself into this visit. Could have played that a little better.
Yeah, he just looks a little tentative at the moment, and it's not surprising really, because he's had a few misses that he wouldn't have expected. So he just needs to have a nice visit here where he makes a good contribution.
6.
And keeps the cue ball nice and tight and gets his confidence back up, because it must have come as a bit of a shock, some of the balls he's missed. Certainly after being 2-0 up, that's for sure.
No. Seven. Sorry. Yeah, I don't know. 7. I don't know. Sorry, Anthony.
Referee and player have a little bit of a chuckle over something. Can't see a red that's available just by rolling the blue in, so may have to disturb something. Oh, and for a minute it was fine, although I think he's got a red to the left middle.
50.
I was just about to say, he played that really nicely there, Dion, didn't he? Very controlled. And this is the chance he's been looking for, just to try and re-establish himself. Gone missing for a few frames, has to be said.
60.
And the one thing you do know about him, you certainly saw last year, was blessed with an excellent temperament. An ability to put behind things that have happened before is a massive asset. Just looking there, just to
21.
play this with a little bit of drag. If you can just finish low on the black, and then he'd be able to play a little cannon up into the cluster. So that's what he was looking at. He should be low on the cue ball here, just a bit of drag on it. And you can see it just take now.
22.
So all about this shot, you would think.
Perfect. Those two reds that are going to be just to the right of the black, as we will see that shot
29.
again, and he played the cannon perfect. I think the right-hand one of the two does go, but that won't bother him at the moment. He's got at least 4 reds in the open, where he can just keep concentrating on position on the black, which is really only available into the right corner at the moment, so that's the only downside. It just needs to be getting straight on these reds just to roll it in for the black in the opposite corner. But it's a good chance.
38.
And of course, this opportunity all coming from Ricky Walden's attempt on a long red in the corner, which, well, for these players, John, you're quite right, wasn't very close, was it? And that, you know, these are the junctures in matches where you see an opponent kick on and go ahead and get a 4-2 lead all of a sudden. And unfortunately for Ricky, that's not the case here. And since then, Anthony McGill has taken these rather well, but that was a big miss in the context of the match there.
46.
Control that nicely using the rest. Just give it that little bit more degree of difficulty. Made light of it. As I say, I think the red, just the right hand one of the two to the right of the black does go, but as long as he gets straightish on one of these reds, he can play for the black in the right corner.
53.
This black
54.
will put him 56 points in front with 59 remaining, so the black and one more red, that's all that's required. I was saying at the start, John, that it was one of these first round matches that you could have gone either way, toss of a coin, and it's looking more and more like that now, isn't it?
Yeah, couldn't agree more. It's had a little bit of everything. Some really good stuff scoring wise. Some unexpected
62.
misses when the players have been in, which all adds to the excitement. Sometimes when you see these matches, John, and people keep making 100, 100, 100, they think, you know, this game's so easy, but it isn't.
69.
And it all adds to the excitement when there's an unexpected miss of a pot now and again. But this has been a
70.
really good opening session so far. And a pretty good contribution here from Anthony McGill, considering he lost his way a little bit.
Yeah, and certainly put the disappointment of losing the last frame when he missed a straightforward black off the spot.
76. $77.
And can it be his turn to make a century? It's a lovely touch and break builder. He's a little bit, reminds me, John, he's a little bit old school, isn't he, Anthony McGill, the way he goes about it, and in a nice way. I don't mean that any other way. He plays a little bit like
85.
the older players. He's a very nice touch and cue action, very similar the way he goes about it. Very effective.
$92.
Changing to left hand.
94.
Not many don't now, is he?
I tell you, I can't do it. I've no clue, by the way. Mind you, can't do it right-handed at the moment, but that's another thing. But the other way, absolutely, people in the front row would be in danger if I went left-handed and clip him on the ear with my elbow. But no, everyone seems to be like that.
101.
Excellent break. So 3 centuries we've had already in this match. High quality and a few
106.
surprising misses, so it's had everything.
112.
Excellent. Well played, Anthony McGill. So from a second that looked like it was running away from him slightly, Ricky Walden misses the long red, and that excellent century break from Anthony McGill puts us back all square again. It's 3-3.
This is a tough one. You got to catch these just right. Yeah, very good. Very good. I thought with the modern day players, I thought that was worth a little tap on the table there. None of it.
Tough school, John.
Yeah.
No, that was a brilliant return. Ricky did all he could do, but sometimes you just got to hold your hand up. That was excellent from Anthony McGill. And that red that's near the top right-hand pocket is the problem. Easy safety shot if that wasn't there, coming off the reds near the pink and back into balk area. But that red is, well, probably the size of a football as Ricky's standing there. The one on the left-hand side has got double kiss written all over it, so that's not easy to get back into the balk area with.
Yeah, he's got a big problem here. There is a red that will take him back to the balk end, but he's got to hit it so precise.
So, here goes. Gonna get this good.
That's the red I think he's going to play off. Oh, well, that's perfect. That is probably as good a shot as he's played all morning, and he's made 2 centuries.
And there you go. There's your little tap of the table you were looking for, John.
Yeah, I wouldn't give him a tap. He didn't give him a tap. No, good shot. Good reply from Anthony.
This is very good stuff at the moment, John, isn't it? This has been 2 or 3 really high quality safety shots here. Neither player wanting to make the mistake, particularly where the balls are spread. Could be very costly.
Well, he's missed it completely.
Miss.
Best of luck with putting this back, referee. If he's asked to.
Yeah, I think there, as Ricky misses that, I'd have to be taking this one on, and he is. Like being given the shot to nothing, this.
That was better. So, both players playing excellent safety shot, but it's Anthony McGill that's won the tactical battle here. And he gets the first decent opportunity in the frame.
Good shot. Nicely played, nicely judged. Very easy to underhit those shots off the yellow, but that was well played.
This is a bonus, being able to get on this red and stunned for the black in the same pocket.
4.
Wow, that was a Brucey bonus, if ever there was one.
What you say, John? There's always a gap.
Yeah, yeah. I can't believe he played for that red, but that was the perfect red to at least make the black available into one of the corner pockets. Frame winning chance now.
11. $12.
Just another example of the excellent temperament he's got. Quite a few people would be disappointed
19.
with the level of his own performance from 2-0 up. He'd gone to sleep for a couple of frames, but just
20.
a couple of poor mid-range reds, a couple of examples of poor cueing, but certainly the last frame recovered well and doing well here. I mean, he found himself in one of his matches last year when he reached the semi-final, as Ricky looks on. 7-2 down to Jamie
27.
Clark in one of his matches. It was Anthony McGill, so he's got all those requirements: tenacity, ability to fight, but a wonderful
28.
temperament to go with it. And this has proven to be a very good match.
$45.
Absolutely perfect. Just roll the red in, nudge the red away from the pink.
36.
Well, as it happens, he's nudged the pink towards the other red, so didn't open them as I expected, and I'm certain he did. Now, is there any value here, John, in potting the black and playing the cannon and trying to develop these two reds near the top cushion, or is it too risky?
Yeah, it's decision time, isn't it? And these are the things as top-class professionals. This is where, you know, you're playing it's a little gamble playing that cannon. He could just push this in and play the red in the middle and try and flick the red and pink away, but he may feel that this is the best chance he gets to split these reds up. And that's the only thing playing that shot. If you don't quite get it absolutely right, you can leave yourself in no man's land.
43.
I don't blame him, but it's you just know when you play it, you've got to get it right.
Yeah, he played it very precisely, didn't he? I thought there was value there, a little bit more pace, stunned the one immediately below the black. Anyway, he's taking this on. 21 points to lead. Well, that was a
44.
super shot. Really was.
Yeah, you can't get any better than that. Nobody can play it better. That was beautiful. And now he's just looking at the cannon. He's just thinking, do I want to cannon the pink or do I want to cannon the red? Lovely. He's negotiated these really well. He looked like he'd lost the cue ball. That red along the top cushion was
51.
superb. And then that little cannon there, excellent.
$52. $56.
So 34 points to lead. Red, cover red, all required. So pot the red, make certain you get a nice angle on the pink and just drop behind the red near the top cushion.
$57.
Yeah, he just had a little look before, didn't he, just to see where he needed to leave that cue ball, and probably needed to get into it a little bit more than that, but should be okay. Well, in fact, he's got to come off the cushion. He didn't play it like that. Played to hold that a little higher, but it's negotiated.
63.
This red to go 42 points in front with just 35 remaining.
64.
Well, it seems every time someone gets in, there's a century. But he'd need a good positional shot here to get on the awkward last red. Needs to miss the brown. Well, the green.
71.
I don't fancy him for this one, John. There you go.
Well, the only thing I would say, he's going to give it every chance because he'll just roll it, try to leave himself low on the black. Don't worry about taking the cue ball away from the cushion. Although he'll be just quite happy to get the next frame underway, I would imagine.
There you go. What a judge am I?
Yeah, well, it's made it easier. And finishing low like this, just roll the black in, you'd finish on the yellow. I'm making it sound easy, but it's certainly not.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
$79.
So if he knocks this yellow in, could be the 4th century of the morning in this match.
$81.
Yeah, they either miss a sitter or make 100, John.
No, it's been unusual really, because you think someone's in stroke, like when Ricky made his first century, then the next frame made another century, and then the next frame missed a sitter, got away with it.
84.
And won the frame, went 3-2 in front after being 2-0 behind. And now Anthony in front again with another century.
Been a lovely constructed break this as well. I mean, the red he knocked in to keep it going along the top cushion in the middle of the break was just superb. And then the last red, well, he's going to miss the blue, John. Can you believe it? Fantastic contribution though from Anthony McGill. Some great stuff being played here from both players today. And it's McGill who takes the lead again. He goes 4-3 ahead.
Okay.
So Ricky Walden breaks off in frame 8 in a very high quality encounter, certainly scoring wise. Breaks of 112, 105, 119, 88. Couple of centuries for Ricky, one for Anthony McGill. A few unexpected misses, some good tactical stuff. Cracking opening session.
Isn't it always the way? You think the only red I can leave is the one I'm playing. And he's left a nice easy starter for Ricky here. Might have to nudge a few reds into play, so just got to judge the cannon.
1.
Did do nicely.
Yeah, it'd be handy if the bottom red on the right hand side of that cluster would go as well. That'd be another one that'd be quite useful, because you could play low on that and bring a few more out. I think that's what he's done. So ideally you'd like to be a little bit low on this.
8.
Well, he isn't, but he can still get on the black.
9.
So 2 reds available before he's got to do any more.
$16.
Yeah, it's interesting to see how the players go around, which way they go into the cluster. I just think with that pink, there's a little gap between the pink and the reds. Sometimes when the pink is tight to the top of that apex, it's good to come in off the blue.
17.
But the way they are, John, maybe the black is the way forward.
I agree with you. I think the blue, and I think maybe he's purposely played for the pink to get the pink out of the way, because it would have been acting as a little bit of a blocker. All depends really sometimes on the potting angle, but it's the type of pack I certainly would be thinking it's best to go in them off the blue. But I don't know whether he's got the angle to
23.
to play for the blue off this. I don't think he has.
Yeah, the ironical thing about it is now the pink has been potted, it's actually perfect, isn't it? Because it's gone closer to the pack. So it is the black.
24.
And I think with this shot is that the outside red on the right hand side is the one you want to play in, and you play this with a stun. You don't screw this one. This is a nice firm stun, nearly full ball into that red. Well, he is going to screw it, but you can stick in them doing that. It's okay. You've got one.
Yeah, just about okay.
41.
I agree with you. I think you stun those, because then the cue ball has a tendency to go up the table towards the blue area, but he's got a thin cut.
42.
No problem holding for a baulk colour. Decent chance. He's only got 2 reds in the open, so pretty soon he's going to have to play another can and develop more. But if you're at the table, you can win the frame. And that looks perfect. And the thing is now, if he comes low on the black, he can pot the black, cannon into that
36.
cluster, and still be on the open red to the left corner after this red and the black.
37.
Well, he's not gone through far enough. Shouldn't be a problem playing for the 1 loose red, but he's going to have to play that cannon pretty soon.
Yeah, it's one of those, one opportunity missed there. Simple little run through on there, stun up. So change your plan. Definitely a change of plan now after that one, because that had no pace in the cue ball there to come back off the cushion. So
44.
I don't quite know whether he played back off or just played to be a bit shorter than that, but either way, he didn't want the cue ball as close to the cushion.
Well, he's going into the reds off this red.
45.
Well, I couldn't have judged it better. That was a terrific shot. Touch of class there.
Yeah, one of his very best shots of the day, that. Beautifully played. In fairness, he made it a little bit more difficult for himself, but he was up to it.
52.
If you're doing a bit of a school report on Ricky this morning, you just say, you're hitting it great, you're scoring
53.
great. Just make sure you concentrate on every single shot you've got, because that's the only thing he's done wrong today. Most of it's been top draw. But then you've gone and done one of those.
Ricky Walden, 53.
Amazing, John, isn't it? Amounts of times he's done that today.
No rhyme or reason to it. You know, just when you think he's done all the hard work, he's got the frame at his mercy. And not for the first time, misses the black off the spot. So an unexpected let off.
1.
Came to the table 53 points behind. There was 83 remaining, so Ricky's going to have to sit there and suffer. Yep.
8.
Realises what a chance he's let go there.
Nine.
I think the outside of the outside red, the cluster of 4, does go to the same pocket as the black. It does, but he needs to get in the cue ball a bit more than that.
Yeah, poor shot that
16.
one. Almost a little bit of deceleration, as you mentioned before. But can still knock this in, but like to have been without the rest.
Chance
Anthony McGill,
missed.
16.
Got to be very careful here. You can see Ricky looking at the table. He can play off the cluster of the 3 reds, but he's got to be very careful with that. And he makes sure he gets a good cue ball. And you can't always guarantee where they're going to end up, so needs to make sure he get a good cue ball, not one that hits the yellow. So, chance for Anthony again. Choice of reds, I think.
The yellow just making this awkward. He just can't put his bridge on where he would normally. I think it'd be better bridging over the yellow rather than. Well, he thinks he can. Well, he's got plenty of room.
Yeah, it's one of those shots, John. It just upsets your normal routine, doesn't it? You know, your normal length of bridge hand. You've always got it slightly in the back of your mind. You don't want to touch the yellow and cause a foul. So it just can put your timing out if you're not careful with that extra length of bridge.
Well, this is a strange choice. He's put the extension on. Well, he knocked it in, so don't know why you'd put the extension on unless he felt he was bridging a bit long. I don't know.
They'll all be doing it.
Yeah. Anyway, in it went. Another chance to, what you could say is to steal this frame. Because in the early part of it, for all money, you said it was Ricky Walden who was going to win it. This would hurt Ricky if Anthony could take this
8.
one.
Nine. Sixteen. Seventeen.
No problem, of course, for the next red, but the one that's just the closest to the right-hand side cushion is basically, you would think, as close to frame ball as you're going to get, and that's not easy. And he's just left an angle. He's tried to leave this an angle to pot the red and then move the other one off the cushion, but he hasn't come quite right. I think he's come too straight on this. That was the intention. Try and nudge the other red. Maybe he can force it, and he could.
25.
So that's a clever little shot. Very nice. So just dropping this blue in.
Blue ball, thank you.
Yeah, it takes a little bit of cue in this, and it's not always nice when you're going to just drop dead weight. Well, he chose to play round the angles, John, and I think I'd have been dropping that.
Yeah, it wouldn't have been my choice to play it at pace. It's funny, you know, how you see shots and certain eras. And I remember in 1972, the year that Alex Higgins just appeared on the scene, and he played Rex Williams, and he had a blue like that, and he missed. Otherwise, he'd have beaten Alex, and he wouldn't have been the 1972 world champion. But the funny thing is that everybody remembers Rex Williams missing an easy blue. Well, they're not easy, particularly when you're tight under the cushion. But I'll tell you what, though, this will be a real sigh of relief from Ricky Walden, because twice he looked as though he's handed this frame to his opponent. If he can get over the line here,
5.
and he can put all the mistakes out of his mind.
I mean, he must be annoying himself, because there's no doubt about it. He's hitting the ball lovely. You know, when he's in and scoring properly. I mean, you see the 2 centuries he made were as good as anybody, but he's just, as I say, got that little glitch where he just forgets to concentrate for the odd shot, because that's the only thing. He's hitting it great. He's a match for anybody when he's playing well. He's just got to stop those unforced errors. It's not because his opponent's been that much better than him in certain frames. He's been in first. He's just got to improve his concentration levels, and if he does that, he's very, very good. He's got the talent, that's for
19.
sure.
.25 in the frame, Ricky Walden.
So in goes the pink. It was an important frame, I feel, particularly for Ricky Walden. He could have dropped 2 behind, but he's managed to weather the storm. 4 each, 1 more frame to play.
The final frame of this session, Anthony McGill to break.
So final frame. It's been a good standard. There has been 1 or 2 misses, but I think it's a fair scoreline at the moment, 4 apiece. But as we all know, with these first sessions, 9 frames, somebody's going to take a lead into the second session, and whoever takes it would, I suppose, be satisfied with the morning's work.
Foul and a miss. Anthony McGill, 4.
Yeah, he had to catch. Well, he probably only had a thin edge to catch.
Back.
See, the problem is, and I know it's a tricky shot, but he's having it replaced, but it's on the cards that Ricky will hit it this time, get the right contact. Of course, if he doesn't, then he will be warned about 3 misses and you're out, so to speak. Maybe that's what's in his mind. It's a thin contact. Is there an alternative? There is, I suppose, one coming off 2 cushions, nestling into the back of the cluster. I think that's what he's going to play. Always got to be careful with this. You don't get into it too deep and hit the black. Yeah, judged it well. You could hear that little faint click, can you?
Now Anthony wishes he'd have played the shot before, John.
Yeah, well, I didn't see there was ever going to be a big problem for Ricky, but he thought, well, I got him in trouble. He missed the ball. Well, let him have another go, but just a containing safety, as it turns out, and gives Ricky the opportunity to send the cue ball up to the balk end and get the advantage in this tactical battle. was a good way to play it. Positive. Open the reds. Put a little bit of pressure now on Anthony's safety.
Yeah, totally agree. And cover one side of the pack as well, so no come back down that side of the table. Anthony's looking at, I thought he got down a little bit quickly for that one, because the red he's looking at on the right hand side, he's got to put a lot of check side on if he's going to take the cue ball back into the balk area, so no surprise as a change of shot. He's just thinking, can he drop into the side of that cluster? And where he was, that's as good as he could have done.
It's amazing, you know, you look at these tables. I suppose it's a bit like the putting greens at Augusta. I mean, I didn't think that was going to get there, but he just kept rolling and rolling.
Just like your stroke on the green, John.
Yeah, yeah. Ooh, where's the cue ball going? How careless is that? How careless. Okay, he might not have done much damage, i.e. left his opponent the pot on, but he's left Anthony with his hand on the table. He can play a better safety shot now.
Yeah, I guarantee you this will be cue ball round the table and half of it will be blocked off, because that's what Anthony McGill does. So yeah, you can see the left hand side's blocked off already by blue, green and pink. So he's putting added pressure on your return to the balk area. Now, we're right in the middle of the cluster there that Ricky's going to swing round the angles. Going to get this right. Which he has. That was well done. Now he's got his man. Certainly one of his better safety shots this morning. Is this a screw back? So, as that last safety shot forced a mistake. At first look, he's got away with it.
Yeah, it was one of those that if you get close to the pot, the red ball stays at this end, but it didn't. But the green has come to his rescue. The red in the balk end won't pass the green. There is another red. Well, two reds that are available to the right corner, but they're very risky. So decided to play the safety, trying to get the snooker. Still gives Ricky the slight advantage though in this tactical exchange now.
He missed a chance there though, John, didn't he?
Yeah, he should have got the snooker.
He did. It doesn't have to be tightened behind the green.
No.
It just has to be lined up behind the green.
Yeah, just get the cover.
That's exactly right. And he had him in absolute all sorts just for that one shot there. He nearly played a cracker there and knocked the red up the table.
It's unbelievable how that red's appeared, isn't it? It's amazing.
I mean, his red that he's played off has hit the other one full ball on the way back.
Yeah, that's the only way it could have knocked it back to the balk cushion, wasn't it? Things that happen on a 12-foot, the 6 snooker table. No. I mean, don't get me wrong, it was missable. Didn't have to do anything with the cue ball to be on the green, so it just shows you that bit of bad luck for Anthony McGill, we thought, has worked out in his favour. Nice easy starter. Chance.
One.
Well, that was well played. He knew full well that was going to be in the way there, that cannon. But he hit through that beautifully. Couldn't play that any better. And this match will finish tomorrow night, John. Always nice to have that psychological advantage of having that 5-4 lead. If you're going to take a little better.
Yeah, and I think in the way it's gone, I think both players will be pleased how they've played the better frames. Okay, as we said, they've made a few mistakes, but they have shown that in patches they're at the top of the form, and that gives you something to work on in the next session. But yeah, although it's a one-frame advantage, it is a lead. Your opponent will have to win 2 frames to get back in front.
16.
That's the way you always think of it. Just a little bit clustered around the black spot area, so it's no formality that you're going to win the frame at this visit. You just concentrate on pink and blue, because even if you got on the black and potted the black, I mean, where's it going to go? Nowhere too advantageous.
23.
That's the problem when you're playing and the cue ball's having to travel that extra bit of distance. It's quite easy to overrun, which he's done here, so up and down the table. It's not great for good position.
Yep, he's lost the cue ball.
27.
Red that's next to the pink is available, but we saw him miss one in the opposite pocket and the rest in previous frame, so as easy as you think into a blind pocket from where you are. Good pop.
28.
Good recovery, that.
Yes, it certainly was, and still gives him that
20.
opportunity to win the frame at this visit. 36 points to lead.
Red that's on the right hand side of those 2 at the top, that'll be the one if you'd like to get on. One on the right wing there, she's having a little look at. Also got 2 reds that are closest to the pink. Bottom one certainly pot. So he's got quite a big area to play on here, just about the judgment of the pace. Well, it was a little straighter than I thought.
Yeah, I did as well. I thought he may be able to come down, so he couldn't get close. And as I say, once that cue ball has to travel up and down the table, it's very hard to get precise position. So he needs another good shot here. As I say, I mean, the easy way it looks, he's got the angle to stun for the black, but you pot the black, and I'm not certain how advantageous. You could play for the pink to the left middle. He seems to have had a weakness with that type of shot today, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's missed 1 or 2 of them, but I tell you what, if he's covered the pocket with the black there, he's been very fortunate. He's cannoned into other balls there, could have left a lot more than this. So he's had a good run of the balls there, Anthony McGill.
Well, you just saw this red that Ricky's playing. If he pots it, bound to be on the black. If it goes in, bound to be on the black, and it's a good pot.
Fabulous. Just off straight that was, John, as well, wasn't it? Wasn't one that you could take for granted. That was an excellent pot. But back to the knotty problem of the Reds being awkward.
Yeah, I would think he'd just be glad to have this opportunity, but This black, well, it'll get tied up, I'm certain. I don't think there's a spot for it. It's under there somewhere. So it has to go as close to its spot as it can go in a direct line with the middle of the top cushion. So I assume the top red is covering the spot. Well, would you believe it? And looking at that, the black is available. The black will go. Because it can't be touching.
Thank you. 8.
Does the black go to the left corner? Too straight.
9.
Well, he obviously thought that if he got high on the black, he could pot it into the right corner. He's on the pink.
9.
See the side when it came off the cushion, he put a lot of right hand side, just threw the red a little bit wide. So he can pot the pink to the middle, but I'm not certain where the next red comes from.
I think he had a little look to see if the bottom red of those two would cut in the other corner pocket, but it won't cut if you miss the pink. So that's the red he was looking at. Those two reds together. Will the bottom one clip in the corner?
One.
And it did. So it wasn't an easy pink that Ricky Walden missed, but that was what his plan was. And Anthony will be particularly disappointed he hasn't landed on. It was a nice pot, that. Just tuck in behind the yellow.
Anthony McGill, 1.
That was close, John, to not hitting it, wasn't it?
I know. But the Australian was on hand. Yeah, it just nestled, didn't it? Didn't move, it nestled. Well, it's the age-old problem here. I think there's enough to hit, but can you get it safe? Now, when you're in this situation and the point's behind, you're just thinking, I cannot afford to leave a pot on, because if you do, that could be end of frame. But we know with the miss rule, you need to hit the red, otherwise you can give all kinds of points away. I mean, normally you'd think twice across. I mean, he will be frightened of leaving the pot on the red along the top cushion.
Yeah, he's having a little look at the one on the left there. He's trying to think if he can go off a couple of cushions and rest on that one. He's had a look to see would Anthony fancy the red on the right hand side as a pot. So a couple of alternatives.
Well, that was my idea. He's going the complete opposite way. Needs to miss that red. I don't think he played to hit that red, in all honesty, but if he thought, well, if I hit the red, yeah, I'm all right, and if I don't hit the red, I'm all right.
Yeah, I think he looked at that one initially, and then the one on the top cushion he was trying to hit, wasn't he? But he's caught the one he went on. He looked at first time, but wherever it's finished, it's okay.
Whatever he's done, it couldn't have worked out better.
I think we'll just leave that one to him, John. It's the best alternative. It turned out all right.
We could go and ask him, but he probably won't remember the shot. As I say, when they go right, you forget them. It's when they go wrong you remember them. Anyway, it was a problem that he solved and keeps him just about in this frame. But he can't afford another mistake.
He's got another problem here. This is horrible where he's been left. Absolutely horrible. If he plays the red that's near the black, he's got to be very accurate with this, and you don't always know where the other red gets promoted. He's done as well as he could have done there. It's not bad at all, that. Well, there's a nice target behind yellow and brown here, if Anthony can manage to get that cue ball back in that area. The two reds that are near the black spot, just wondering if he can play off the top one there and get through the gap, but that red that's on the top cushion, which he's now going to have a look at, is maybe a problem to it. Yeah, so there's the angle he'd be coming off as he's looking now. And he's just wondering whether he can get through the gap and back down to the baulk area. You'd have to be very precise. But he may feel he's forced into it.
Well, he's played the perfect shot. A reluctant tap on the table there from Ricky. It was more of a bang, wasn't it? It was very precise. Can he get past the pink?
This is horrible.
Well, nothing wrong with his eyesight, but caught it much too thin. Chance for Anthony McGill.
I have to say the shot before that McGill played was right out of the top drawer. And he's forced this mistake from Ricky. Now it's his cue action. Can he knock this important red in?
One.
Yeah, good shot that. Just managed to hold the cue ball.
So he's looking for this pink. Two reds, two more pinks. Getting to snooker's required. And give him, well, the way his body language is, he's not happy with that. I wonder why.
7.
That's why. Well, he might be able to flick it with a tracer right hand side. He wanted to be a little bit further down. If he plays a tracer right, he can just turn this red over and be on the pink to the middle. But it is risky.
Saw one of those yesterday, didn't we? Neil Robertson playing John. We just forced the issue slightly. Thought he could get it, but we'll soon see. Yep, straightened it up. Couldn't do anything with the cue ball.
8.
Good pot, but good luck with the next one if you're trying to pot one.
Yeah, I don't think he'll be playing the pink to the middle now.
Now, this is the time to be sticking something nice and safe here. I'd be a big fan of the insurance policy. Try and get a baulk colour safe against the counter clearance. So if you can do it, that's what I'd be doing with the lead that he's got. 39 points ahead. Put something safe just in case Ricky does get in.
Anthony McGill, 8.
Excellent shot again. I mean, he's played two brilliant safety shots in the last couple of exchanges, John, hasn't he? That was superb again.
Yeah, his shot selection, particularly on the safety side of his game, has been very, very good.
Once again, another example of the excellent tactical play. Totally in the driving seat in this exchange. Nothing Ricky can do about it at the moment. He just keeps coming to the table with a headache. Anthony McGill's last few safeties have been top draw. Okay, he didn't put a colour safe as I suggested, but he's certainly been in charge of this exchange.
Well, he's got a good line and a lovely length and contain the situation, but it's still Anthony who's calling the shots.
Yeah, just to show there that he's slightly ahead in the safety exchanges, 83 to 74, but you'd probably expect that with the style of players that they are. Yeah, he's just looking to see if he could skim off and line up behind the blue. I don't know whether that particular shot is on. I may not want to play at this stage anyway, so well, he thinks he can, so he's trying to get the diagonal just in behind the blue. Not quite hard enough, but still an excellent shot. I mean, what do you do with that? Good thinking.
The one just above the one on the top cushion. You've got to play this though with a lot of right hand side. Played it pretty well and avoid the in off.
That's an excellent shot. Excellent. Great response.
Well, it just shows you, doesn't it? Just one shot and can turn it. Now you feel that Ricky has now got the advantage of this tactical exchange. More important for Ricky, of course, being 39 points behind.
Yeah, he's got a chance to come round the angles off the red here. All the time looking for that good cue ball. Yeah, good shot.
More intent there on getting the red to the side cushion than finding the baulk cushion with the cue ball. Don't blame him for that. He's got a lead to protect.
Oh, didn't want the bump there. Didn't want the bump. It's not been too bad, but he was just trying to sneak down into that corner, have the blue as a cover ball. May have made a difference, but just caught it.
Misjudged that. And I think there may be enough of this red showing past the pink he can play the pot here. I know he's problem putting his bridge on, but it's half a chance this to knock this red in. Well, that's a nice little rub off the brown. But as I say, it was half a chance that.
You're not kidding about that rub off the brown. That's lovely. Put him in all sorts of trouble here. Could decide to play a drop onto the red onto the top cushion, off the side cushion, on the right hand side if he wants. Actually playing off that red into the baulk area is fraught with danger. Very easy to get that too thick.
Yeah, and with shots like that, the one near the top cushion, if you do catch it too thick, it will go back up the table with the cue ball. So he's got to catch this just right, but this is the one he's playing. Got to catch it as thin as you can. Well, he made a pretty good job of it. A very good job. Tremendous length with the cue ball.
Tactically, he's been outstanding in this particular exchange as Anthony McGill. The quality and his shot selection has been top draw.
Well, you called it at the start of the match. You did say that that could be the one difference. The safety, the tactical play of both players. You'd favour Anthony. And of course, in amongst the balls, that's where Ricky is at his best. So it's been an interesting match from frame one.
He's not got many shots here. In fact, I'm struggling to see one. Can't play the red behind the black. Red next to the pink's no good. That's what the jaw's involved in it. And he looks like he's playing it. And if you're going to play this one, and you're going to play it thin, it's got to be wafer thin. But then you can always pot it.
Well, funnily enough, I looked over at Anthony in his seat, and he was tapping his cue on the floor in appreciation of that. I mean, he had to hit it thin, and obviously if you hit it that thin, there's a chance you could pot it. But Anthony saw the good side of it. I don't know if I'd have been tapping me cue, to be honest with you. But we didn't do a lot of tapping in my day.
Well, needs to come inside, and that is an excellent positional shot. Very, very good from Ricky Walden. And I'm going to hark back, John, to about, I don't know how many shots ago, when I said that I wondered if Anthony McGill had put a baulk colour safe, just as an insurance policy. He played a good shot, don't get me wrong, but he had a chance to do that against the counter clearance. There's a lot of work to be done in this, but I'd love to have had a baulk colour like the green or something stuck on a side cushion somewhere.
Yeah. I mean, obviously the red by the black is awkward, but it's the type of situation with that red and black that if you didn't get on the red right, you could always play a telling snooker. So it's not imperative you get on the red.
Oh, I think this is the next couple of shots, massively important. This, make sure you knock this red in. Get the pink, and you are right in charge of a frame that you were looking like you were in trouble in. Try to play it out.
11.
That's not a bad flick on the blue. Good clean pot that, as it turns out. And as I say, if he feels as though he can't pot the blue and get good position on the red, he can always stun past the red and play a telling snooker behind the black. So as you say, he's in control at the moment, even though when he pots his blue he's still 23 points behind. Well, he couldn't have finished up in a worse position than that.
16.
I think he can still get the snooker. But it won't be too difficult to hit, I don't think.
Ricky Walden, 16.
Well,
Thanks, Anthony.
decent contribution. The opening red was a corker. And this is one of those you can play pretty slow here, and the red and white are going to jam together because of the black where it is. If you hit it hard enough, that is. What a touch.
Well, like you, I didn't think it was going to get there. They just keep rolling. We show it in slow motion, but you've already seen it.
Now, this time it's slightly different because there's a gap between the red and the black, and it's on an angle, so the last shot was pretty simple for Anthony to play. This one not so much. Fantastic frame this has been. Fascinating, really good tactical encounter, and we still don't know which way it's going to go. That was pretty close to nearly both balls at the same time, but obviously referee's happy it wasn't. And at the end of the day, you can't beat a bit of luck because he's had it there.
Yeah, I think it was red first.
Oh yeah, it was. It just looked a bit close, didn't it? But
Yeah, yeah.
what a result he's had getting that safe.
Oh, that was one advantageous bump. But for that, he could have left this on to the left corner.
Thank you.
Well, anything else going to happen in this frame, John?
As I say, it was coming down, possibly onto the left corner, but that little bump on the middle just knocked it into a safe position. Anthony just playing the nestle. And the thing is, of course, I mean, in the second session there's a possible 10 frames to play, but this frame could be pivotal in the match. You know, they could look back on frame 9 and whoever won it, you know, because listen, it wouldn't surprise you if this match went 9-0 at some stage tomorrow evening. That's how closely matched I think they are.
Yeah, no value in taking the cue ball down the table. Just a nice little cover from pink and black there for Ricky. So snooker's a snooker, no matter how far the distance is between them. So you'd expect Anthony just with a little bit of side, trying to nestle again to this red. And that is quite nice. Just wondering whether Ricky can just clip it with the, yeah, he can get to the side of it. Sometimes you get left those shots and you just can't escape with the cue ball. Yeah, that's better. He just wants to get that red just slightly off the cushion. It makes all the difference to the escape. Has he found the gap?
There's always a gap. There it is.
Well, this is where you have to trust your judgment here. There's a nice target behind green and brown here. You've just got to forget about that red and make sure you get that cue ball there. Has he done it? Ooh. Not quite. Oh, he's half a roll away from having him in all sorts of trouble there.
Well, it was very close there, needs a bit of luck, and he's not had it. So here's the opportunity for Anthony McGill to finish this session with a one-frame advantage.
Yeah, can't complain there, Ricky. John, can he? He had, well, he was in a few minutes ago and didn't quite lay a snooker as hard as he would have liked behind the black.
One.
And then he's had that one opportunity after that safety exchange, so no complaints. He's had a go at it. And this has been an excellent opening session for these two players. As I mentioned earlier, they'll finish the session tomorrow night.
6.
So a good night's sleep and back tomorrow and a bit of practice. And the way this has gone today, I would say it won't go all the way tomorrow. Been very good, really enjoyable session to watch. A few unexpected misses, some, well, 3 century breaks of the highest quality. And that last frame had excellent match play in it. And 2 players very well matched. It's been good stuff.
15.
Enjoyed it, John?
I certainly have, and I think both players can take a lot from this first session. They'll look back on a few mistakes, but good quality snooker. And someone had to be in front, and it's last year's world semi-finalist, Anthony McGill, that takes that one-frame advantage into the second session tomorrow night. He leads Ricky Walden 5-4.
So McGill goes to sleep with a 1-frame lead, but that match will reach its conclusion on Monday evening. Make sure you join us again live on BBC 2 at 10 AM. But from Sheffield, it's goodbye.